Carol Adams with Carol Adams Creations. Thank you for joining me today. I am going to be making, see if I can pick it up, these adorable yarn pumpkins. They're really easy to make. It does take a little bit of practice, but once you do that, you're ready to go, and it's just a lot of fun to do. And I'm using this big yarn. Hold on, let me see here. Here it is. Pull out of my trash here. This is by Yarn Bee. I purchased it at Hobby Lobby, and it's just this big chunky yarn. So, and I made, you can make them all different sizes. It just kind of depends on the loops that you make, that you use, and so I'll be explaining that too. And hopefully, I'm going to go slow so that you can see how I do everything, okay? So, I'm going to point the camera down because I want you to really be able to focus on what I'm doing, not on me. Okay, let me make sure this is good. Okay, so we have our yarn on our left side. It doesn't have to start this way. You want probably about a 12-inch tail. Be sure and don't make it too short, because I'll tell you why when we get to the end, when we use this, okay? So you're going to take your yarn, you're going to cross it over just like that. You're going to take the tail and pull it through, and there you have what I call a slip knot. It needs to be about where you can put 2 fingers in there. So you have just like that. So I'm going to do that one more time just so that you know what you're doing. You're going to flip, make sure I have enough tail there. You're going to flip it over, take this in and pull it up through. And then just take this side and just kind of pull it a little tight. And there you go. You have your first slip knot. Somehow I got paper on it or something. Okay, so I am going to make a 10 loop pumpkin. That is this size right here. And I'm gonna explain, and you'll figure, it'll be easy. You'll figure this out. So I moved my yarn from over on the left hand side to the right hand side, just because probably I'm right-handed, so that makes it easier. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this section, we're going to push it through this one. No, we're not. Forgive me. I got so distracted with someone commenting. Now, okay, so we're going to do this part again, so we're going to take this, we're going to loop that over, just like that, and you want it pretty close, not really spaced out, and then we're going to push that up through. So now, and you don't have to make it tight, it's fine. So now we have 2 loops. We're going to make a total of 10. So we have 8 more loops to make. I'm going to get a bunch of yarn here so that it's a little bit easier for me to do. Okay, so I'm going to loop this over, and then I'm going to bring it up and pull it through. And like I said, I'm not making that tight. I'm leaving it pretty loose. Just making sure that these are big enough, but not too big. You want them, like I said, to be about 2 fingers, and that's it. You don't want them any bigger than that. Okay, so now you're going to loop over, and you're going to pull this up. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got to make 5 more, and we're just gonna do this or something, because you don't, after you get this part done, you don't really have to think a lot. Okay, so now I have my 10 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of a flower shape. I'm going to turn my loops to the outside. I'm going to make a circle. Getting some more yarn here. Okay, so my loops are on the outside and I'm making a circle. So I'm going to put my tail into the middle. So now all of my loops are on the outside, all 10 of them. I am going to take this piece of the one that's connected, not the tail. I'm going to kind of put it in a circle, and then I'm going to slip it through the first one. I'm going to take it and I'm going to slip it through the next one. And you're going to do this all the way around. So all I'm doing is doubling this over and pushing it through. Doubling it over, pushing it through. Okay? And I know you're probably going, how in the world is that going to turn into a pumpkin? Trust me, trust me, trust me, it will. It's easier if you count, like this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's easier if you count. It was to me, that I knew kind of where to stop. Let's see, so this is going to be 10. Okay, so now, depending on how high you want your pumpkin, this one I did, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 rows, I think, on this one. And then I pretty much did the same thing here. I wished I had made this a little bit bigger. And this one, let's see, whoops, I used a cork and it doesn't want to stay in there. I did, let's see, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6, I don't know. Just kind of depends. Okay, so now this is going to be our second layer, but we're going to do the exact same thing. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and see, I'm still keeping all of my loops. I'm still keeping all of my loops on the outside. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that was 3. Now we're going on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And be sure you're going through the loops, not any other part of the project, but you're going through the loops that you made. I don't know, I've lost count. Oh well, we'll figure it out. I found, for me, it was much easier to do it this way than to have it up and trying to do it all up in my hands. I don't know, I couldn't keep up with where the loops were or anything else. Let's see. Okay, this is starting my, I think my 5th row. We're gonna do, we'll just do 6. Okay, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, you don't put it through this right here. You have to put it through the loop. If you don't put it through the loop, then you're going to have a loose piece. I know this from experience. And so then you get it all through. All you have to do is just pull on that right there, and the whole thing will come apart. So you got to be sure and put it through the loop, not through the notch. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a technical term for it, but I don't know what it is. Okay, I think I'm doing one more row. I think that's 2, that's 3. Hopefully I'm staying on camera. It's kind of coming towards me here. There's my tail. And you're, like I said, you're still just keeping all those loops on the outside. That was really what made it the easiest for me. Like I said, the girl I watched, she had it all up in her hands and everything else, and I'm going, I don't think I can do that. Okay, I think that is it. So this is what we have, and this is what it looks like. And you can keep going if you want. See, right here, I missed a loop. So I have to go back and do it all over again. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to fix it like that so that you don't have to watch me do this all over again. So that's what happens when you miss the loop. You'll have this little part sticking out, and it's like, yep, you missed that loop. So I'm just going to push it back in, and I'll just have to redo the whole thing. But I don't want you to have to watch me do that. So now what you're going to do, now that you've got it done the way that you want it, we have our tail at the bottom. We are going to cut about 12, 14, 15 inches. And what I want to show you is you can actually tear this. It doesn't take, you know, a Hulk, Mr. Hulk to do this. But what I want you to see is what you need still to be careful when you're going to do the next step. Well, I did it earlier. There we go. Maybe you do have to be Hulk. It will tear pretty easily, so you got to be careful on this next step. So I have my last loop here. I have my tail right here. I'm going to take this tail, and the end of the tail, and I'm going to feed it through all of these loops. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of cinch it up because we're making either the top or the bottom of the pumpkin, whichever one looks the best. And you're just putting them through those loops to kind of finish up your stitching. I don't know if this is called knitting or crochet, but anyway. To me, it's called real easy, except when you don't do it right. So we're just going to cinch this up till it's all nice and tight. We're going to tie this in a knot. And I like to do a double knot, but I'm just going to do it once. And we're just going to push this in. We're just going to push this in. Completely in. Okay? So now, I guess you have a toboggan. We have this inside. See? you can tell that I missed that loop. So what you do now is you're going to take your stuffing, your polyfill or whatever, maybe you're using fabric or maybe you're using paper, whatever you're using for your stuffing, you're just going to put that in there. Make it as full as you want. So now we're going to close it up. So now we don't have any loops for us to do. So we're going to take our tail that we left at the very beginning, and we're just going to find a spot in the yarn that we can start doing gathering again. Oh no, that was weird. And we're going to just gather it up just like we did the bottom. And this is where I said you need to make sure you have enough tail. When I did it the first time, I was sweating. I didn't think I was going to have enough to gather it all up. I was like, no! I didn't want to have to add another piece. And you're just trying to find a hole that you can put this through. So that you can basically, you're trying to tie it together just like you did the other end. Okay, I think I'm through. We're just going to tighten this. You got to be careful because like I said, you saw me at the very beginning try. You can just tear this apart. May have gotten him a little stuck, a little fat. All right. Some of my stitches are a little bit loose, but I'm just going to kind of fluff that up and put that to the back. So you're going to, once again, you're going to do the same thing. You are going to tie a knot, and you are going to push that through. So now you have your stitched pumpkin. Isn't that cute? So now I got to take it all apart and do it again. But I purchased, and I saved the paper. These, I got these at Hobby Lobby. They're just little pieces of wood. And I did on this one, I used a wine cork. So you could use a stick from your yard. I don't have sticks in my yard. And I don't have any trees. So, and then you're just going to stick that in the hole to fill that up. Take you some raffia, some greenery, some leaves, and just decorate it as much as you want. Now, like I said, this one was 8. This one was only 8 loops, so it's a little bit. I don't really tell much of difference between them, to be real honest with you. But this was 8, and this was 6. 6 loops that I had down on my paper on my table. This was just 6 loops going through, and this one was 10 also. So depending on how tight you do your loops and how tight you get everything together will really depend on the size. So that took us 20 minutes.